Spring returns to the Balkans in 1462, but it carries no warmth with it. From the south comes an empire on the move. The Ottoman host crosses into Christian territory, 90,000 men, perhaps more. Cavalry that had already swept across 2 continents. Janissaries who had torn down the walls of Constantinople 9 years earlier. Artillery capable of grinding stone into powder. Leading them is Sultan Mehmed II, 29 years old, conqueror of the greatest city in Christendom. The ruler who accomplished what generations of his ancestors had failed to do. Now he rides north to finish their unfinished work, to bind the last Christian principalities between the Danube and the Carpathians, to lock down the frontier, and to make submission total and permanent. Europe looks on from a safe distance. Hungary is spent, unable to raise another army. Venice is consumed with its own survival. The Pope issues appeals that no longer sway any king. Poland stays quiet beyond the mountains. No rescue is coming. Standing in the empire's path is Wallachia, a principality so modest it barely earns a mark on maps drawn in Rome or Paris. A country of shepherds and soldiers, of fields and forests, and little else besides. Its ruler is a figure Europe knows mostly through rumor. Vlad III, son of the dragon, voivode of Wallachia. The Turks call him Kaziklu, the Impaler. He has held the throne once already, and been thrown from it. He knows the Ottomans intimately, from the inside, taken as a boy, raised within their courts, schooled in their customs. He absorbed their language, their strategy, their brutality. He understands the empire, and he understands exactly what happens to the lands that bow to it. The arithmetic is brutal. Wallachia can muster perhaps 20,000 fighters, farmers, minor nobles, mercenaries, bound by desperation, against 90,000, against siege cannon, against an empire that has never known real defeat. Its fortresses are few, its walls weak, and it stands utterly alone. Any other ruler would sue for peace, send tribute, bend the knee, even accept servitude to survive. Vlad refuses. He has paid the Sultan's tribute before, and watched his own people suffer for it. He has witnessed what surrender truly costs. Boys taken for janissary training, faith and law eroded, a once independent land reduced to a mere province. So he chooses differently. When the Sultan demanded still more, Vlad's answer was to execute the envoys who delivered the demand, a decision that closed every door behind him. The Ottoman army forged the Danube in late May, horses by the thousand, supply trains stretching past the horizon, siege engines rumbling toward Targoviste. Sultan Mehmed rides with total confidence. This will be swift, a punitive expedition, a display of power. Wallachia will yield or be wiped away. But as the army pushes forward, something becomes unmistakable. The country ahead is transforming. Smoke curls upward across the north. An empire that had conquered cities now finds itself facing something stranger. Vlad has decided to conquer through terror instead, and the land itself starts to disappear before their eyes. The first village they reach at dawn is still smoldering. No voices, no movement, only ash drifting through deserted streets. The wells have been choked with stones and corpses. The granaries lie burned to their foundations. The livestock has been slaughtered or driven off. There is nothing left to seize, nothing left to eat. The vanguard presses on and finds a second village, then a third, each one emptied, each one erased. Wallachia is dissolving in front of them. Vlad has issued the same order to every settlement lying in the army's path. Burn the fields, foul the wells, push the people into the forests, leave the invader nothing usable. It is an ancient strategy, older than empires themselves, but seldom carried out with such thoroughness. Inside Wallachia, the exodus is almost biblical. Families abandon homes their grandparents built with their own hands. Priests lead their congregations into the wilderness. Nobles set fire to their own estates rather than let them shelter the enemy. The forests fill with refugees. Children sleep inside caves. Elderly men die along forest trails. Women give birth beneath trees, far from any aid. This is the cost of Vlad's strategy, and it is a cost he has chosen deliberately. The Ottoman army marches deeper into the emptiness. Its supply lines stretch thinner by the day. Its soldiers grow hungry. Its horses weaken. And the nights grow dangerous. At first, it is only small things. Scouts who never return. Sentries found dead at their posts. Horses that bolt into the darkness. Throats slit. Then the raids begin in earnest. Small Wallachian bands, 50 men, 100, strike without warning and disappear just as fast. They hit supply wagons under cover of night, set fires along the camp's edges, and kill anyone who wanders past the firelight. They never stand and fight. They never seek glory. They seek fear. The soldiers adapt quickly, stay near the fires, never wander, never sleep too deeply. But the raids keep coming, every night, from every direction, with no pattern to predict. Sleep becomes impossible. Exhaustion spreads through the ranks. Men flinch at shadows and discipline frays. Paranoia settles over the camp like a second darkness, and still the land gives them nothing to eat. Sultan Mehmed pushes on, regardless. His goal has not changed. Targoviste, the Wallachian capital. Take the city, capture Vlad, end the campaign. He orders the army to make camp for the night. Tents rise across a valley. Standards are planted. Campfires burn from one end of the field to the other. 90,000 men settle into an uneasy rest. The Sultan retires to his command tent, ringed by his janissaries. Tomorrow, he tells himself, the capital falls. Tomorrow this ends. But Vlad is nowhere near Targoviste. He is in the surrounding hills, watching, counting the campfires, gauging the distances, waiting for the darkest hour of the night. He has prepared something no Ottoman commander would anticipate. Not a defense, but an assault. His own officers think the plan is madness. To strike at 90,000 with a fraction of that number, to go straight for the Sultan himself. But Vlad has seen the fear already spreading through the Ottoman ranks, and he understands something essential. Empires rarely collapse from a single defeat. They collapse from fear. Near 2 in the morning, the signal is given. Torches flare and Wallachian riders burst from the tree line in 3 scattered waves, tearing into the sleeping camp like wolves. Tents catch fire, horses tear loose screaming, and men wake into flames and shouting they cannot understand. No one can tell where the attackers are coming from, or how many there are. The darkness itself becomes the enemy. The janissaries try to form ranks, but every time they face one torch, another appears behind them. Vlad's riders burn wagons, cut down clusters of soldiers, and push steadily toward the Sultan's tent itself. Word spreads fast. This is an assassination attempt. Mehmed is pulled from his bed, armored, and surrounded by a hastily formed guard. At one point, Vlad closes to within 40 or 50 meters of the Sultan's position, before dawn begins lightening the eastern sky. With daylight, the odds will turn against him, so he orders a withdrawal. His men vanish back into the trees as suddenly as they came, leaving the camp burning behind them. Ottoman losses are later estimated between 5 and 15,000. Wallachia loses perhaps 1,000. The Sultan survives, but only barely, and his army is shaken to its core. Mehmed insists on pressing forward to Targoviste anyway. When his army finally reaches the capital, they find the gates standing open and the streets empty. Beyond the city walls, though, stretches something that stops every soldier where he stands. Rows of wooden stakes running to the horizon, each one bearing a body. Ottoman prisoners, captives, collaborators, some dead for weeks, others barely gone. 20,000 corpses or more, all facing the road the Ottomans had marched in on. It is not a battlefield. It is a message written in flesh. This land will not be conquered. It will simply consume whoever tries. Mehmed orders a withdrawal dressed up as victory, installs a puppet ruler, and marches south. Wallachia survives, unconquered though not yet free. Within years, Vlad is deposed by rivals. Within a decade, he is dead. The West remembers him as a monster. But in Wallachia, he is remembered differently. The voivode who refused to submit, who understood that against an empire, courage and faith alone are not enough, and that survival sometimes demands something older, making the conqueror afraid. For one summer it worked, and the stakes stood for years as a warning no empire could forget.